Hello everyone, welcome to the course Geotechnical Engineering 2. So in this module number 4 and lecture number 2, we will try to understand what do we mean by bearing capacity and what is the application of bearing capacity. Okay, as well as based on this particular bearing capacity, we will understand some of the basic definitions. Okay, so let us now look at the course outline once again. So as I've stated initially, we have understood what do we mean by foundation and what are the different types of foundations. Okay, and then today's lecture we will try to understand what do we mean by bearing capacity and what are the different types of bearing capacity generally we have. Okay, so later we will be discussing the different methods of determination of bearing capacity, and then the settlement criteria as well as some of the tests, and then some of the foundation settlements. Okay, so coming to the previous lecture, so in the previous lecture we have understood the introduction to foundations. Okay, what do we mean by foundations, and then we have understood a terminology known as the allowable bearing pressure. That means the amount of pressure that a particular soil can take, okay, to sustain any type of load without any failure, that we have understood. Okay, now so then we have understood the types of foundation, the shallow foundation and the deep foundation. Later, in case of shallow foundation, as we are concerned with the shallow foundation in this particular unit, so we have discussed the different types of shallow foundation. The first one is the spread footing, and the second one is combined footing, and then we have understood the strap or cantilever footing, and finally we have understood what do we mean by a mat footing or a raft footing. So this is what we have discussed in entire lecture in the module 4. Okay, coming to the basic definitions. So as I have stated, let us try to understand in more in detail about this bearing capacity. So what do we mean by bearing capacity? So it is generally represented by some entity small q. It is represented by small q, the load carrying capacity of the foundation soil. The foundation soil, whatever that is present at the base of the foundation, it is the load carrying capacity of the foundation soil or any type of other material, say rock, okay, which enables it to bear and transmit load from the structure. That means the structural load, whatever that is coming, is actually transmitted from the foundation to the soil. So how much resistance this soil is giving can be expressed as the bearing capacity. That means how much capacity it is having to bear this load coming from the structure is nothing but bearing capacity. So it is denoted by the small q. It is denoted by this small q. So here we have another terminology known as the ultimate bearing capacity. Since it is ultimate bearing capacity, it is given by QULT, ultimate. Okay, it is given by Q ultimate. So what is the ultimate bearing capacity here? It is the gross pressure at the base of the foundation at which the soil fails in shear. Okay, that means it is the gross pressure at the base of the foundation. So imagine this is a ground level. Imagine this is a ground level. Okay, and let us say up to this level I have to construct a foundation. Okay, up to this level I have to construct a foundation. Let me represent this again here so that we can clearly understand. Okay, this is the same diagram but I am representing in two different manners here. Let us say I have to construct a foundation in this particular region. In this particular region I have to construct a foundation. So the same thing I am representing here in a dotted line, the same area. Okay, so I have constructed a particular foundation here. Okay, I have constructed a particular foundation here in such a way that it is resting at this particular level. Okay, so this is a foundation which I have constructed. So let us denote this section by 1 1, the base of the foundation as section 1 1 in both these diagrams, and this is my ground level. This is my ground level. Okay, so if you look at this ultimate bearing capacity here, it is the gross pressure at the base of the foundation at which the soil fails in shear. That means just at the failure, the total amount of load, okay, upon this particular area which this soil has to resist just before failure can be understood as the ultimate bearing capacity. That means it is the maximum load of this foundation as well as the soil, the maximum foundation as well as the soil load at this particular base which the soil is taking is nothing but ultimate bearing capacity. Clear? Now coming to the net ultimate bearing capacity, so it is denoted by QNU. Since it is given by net ultimate, it is denoted by QNU. So it is the net increase in pressure, okay, at the base of the foundation. What we have understood just now, at the base of that foundation, the net increase in pressure which causes the shear failure. Okay, initially there is no foundation, that is initial case. Later some additional foundation is coming there, that means there is increase in pressure at that particular section 1 So what is that additional increase? Okay, so the net increase in pressure at the base of the foundation, that is causing shear failure. That is nothing but stress or the pressure due to the foundation without considering any soil. So that can be found out by the gross pressure minus overburden pressure. Okay, so the gross pressure what we got minus the overburden pressure. Overburden pressure here is nothing but the soil, additional soil that is present or what we have considered. So it can be simply found out by QNU is equals to QU minus gamma into DF. Okay, gamma is the unit weight of soil into DF is the depth of the foundation. Okay, because up to the depth of the foundation we are considering the soil additionally. So Q net ultimate is denoted by Q ultimate minus the overburden pressure, that is gamma into DF. Clear? So that is what is bearing capacity, and then ultimate bearing capacity and the net ultimate bearing capacity. Okay, so now let us look at the other one, that is the net safe bearing capacity. Here the term safe bearing capacity, that means the soil has to take or bear the load safely. Since there is safety, we need to consider the factor of safety, the margin with factor of safety. So this can be denoted as QNS. Since there is S safety, QNS net safety. So it is denoted by the net soil pressure which can be safely applied, as I have stated, which can be safely applied. That means this load can be safely applied and the soil can take it. So it is obtained by QNU by factor of safety. Okay, the entity factor of safety. So it is obtained by dividing the net ultimate bearing capacity by the factor of safety. So QNS is equals to QNU by factor of safety, FOS. Let us now look at the other one, that is the gross safe bearing capacity. So it is denoted by QS. Since it is the gross, we are not considering N here. So gross safe bearing capacity. So it is the maximum pressure, okay, which the soil can safely carry without any shear failure. That means this pressure is somewhat safe, okay, but this is some pressure at the maximum level, where the maximum gross pressure when applied the soil will just fail. Okay, so this is given by QS is equals to the QNS net saving pressure plus gamma DF. That means considering the additional overburden pressure. Okay, so it is given by QS is equals to QNS, the net safe bearing capacity, plus the overburden pressure gamma DF. Because we are not considering the overburden pressure, since it is gross, we have to consider the effect of the overburden pressure also. Okay, so that is gamma DF here. Clear? Now coming to the other one, that is the net safe settlement pressure. Okay, till now we have discussed with respect to our failure, shear failure. So now we are talking in terms of the settlement. So the net safe settlement pressure, it is denoted by QNP. It is denoted by QNP. So it is the total or net pressure which the soil can carry without exceeding the allowable settlement. Imagine I have given that this soil will settle up to 10 mm for a particular load. So I have to state that the net pressure which the soil can carry without exceeding this allowable settlement. So I must state that there is Q amount of pressure. Up to this pressure, this soil will settle 10 mm. So that is net safe settlement pressure, Q and P. Clear? So it is also known as the unit soil pressure or the safe bearing pressure. Okay, it is also known as unit soil pressure or the safe bearing pressure. Now here we have another term, that is the net allowable bearing capacity or the bearing pressure. We have understood the allowable bearing pressure. So here it is the net allowable bearing pressure. It is denoted by Q and A. That means how much we can allow for this particular type of soil, say. Okay, how much it can take the pressure. So that is nothing but the net allowable bearing pressure. So it is given by two different cases here. So the first one is when this net allowable bearing pressure will be equal to the net safe bearing capacity when QNP is greater than QNS. Okay, QNP is the net safe settlement pressure. When it is greater than the net safe bearing capacity, then you can simply state that QNA, that is the net allowable bearing capacity or pressure, is equals to QNS. If it is less or say vice versa, then you can simply write down that QNA will be QNP. QNA will be QNP when QNS is greater than QNP. Clear? So that is regarding the net allowable bearing pressure. So these are some of the different basic definitions what we have and what we need to understand clearly. Okay. Coming to the other one, that is the criteria for the determination of bearing capacity. Okay, there are certain criteria for which way we are determining this bearing capacity. So the first one is the location and depth. The first one is that location and depth. So we need to ascertain a certain location where we have to find out the bearing capacity. And simply for this particular type of soil, say I am at a particular field and I have to state the bearing capacity of the soil in this field. I cannot simply state that this particular soil is having certain bearing capacity. So I need to find out the bearing capacity based on a particular location in the site as well as at a certain depth. Okay, I cannot simply find out the bearing capacity at the ground level. So I have to excavate and find out the bearing capacity of soil by collecting the sample or by any other tests what we have discussed in the previous sessions. Okay, so as I have stated, it must be properly located and founded at a certain depth. Okay, that its performance does not get affected by any type of factor, say the lateral expulsion of the soil from or beneath the foundation. That means imagine there is a foundation here, this is a foundation here. Okay, so because of this particular foundation where I have to excavate and place it, okay, so the surrounding soil present here may try to bulge like this. Okay, the surrounding soil may try to bulge like that, means there is some lateral expulsion of the soil beneath this foundation. So I need to consider all these aspects. So other one is the shear failure. Based on the shear failure, why we are doing all this, we need to ascertain and find out the shear failure where it may occur. Whether if I know the bearing capacity of this particular type of soil, I can state that okay, some X amount of load coming from below, the shear failure may occur or may not occur. So that I can state based on the bearing capacity. Okay, so it is stated here the shear failure of the foundation or the bearing capacity failure, as it is sometimes called, shall not occur. Okay, it either may occur or may not occur. So this is associated, how it is associated, that means because of the plastic behavior of the soil, because of the plastic behavior of the soil below the foundation. Okay, as well as the lateral expulsion of the soil as we have discussed now. Okay, so the shear failure may occur. Now let us look at the other type of criteria, the last one, that is the probable settlements. That means we can observe and find out the probable settlements, how it may occur. Okay, so the probable settlements as well as the differential settlements, all together we can find out the total settlements because of certain type of building load. Okay, why we need this? We need to limit it considering the safety factors as well as the tolerance limits. Okay, so if you look at this particular diagram here, okay, imagine there is a foundation here along with this particular soil. This brown color region is some soil. Okay, and over it there is a building. Okay, so if you look at this, along the particular time there will be uniform settlement, then there is the settlement only along this particular shape. Okay, so that is known as a uniform settlement, and in such case generally there won't be any type of cracks observed. But if you look at the other case here, there is some tipping settlement. That means at one particular side there is some uneven settlement here, okay, which you can observe along one direction. If you look at the other one, there is differential settlement along with cracks. If the surrounding soil at this particular region is different, then what will happen? Some deviation is occurring. So that is why uneven settlement may be observed at this particular type of location. So this is regarding the probable settlements what we will ascertain based on the bearing capacity. Clear? Now let us look at some of the factors affecting bearing capacity. So if you look at the first factor, we need to know the type of soil. See, the type of soil may affect the bearing capacity because the bearing capacity will change for different types of soils. So the other one is the unit weight of soil, whether is it in partially saturated state or dry state or submerged state or completely saturated state, any other state. So that is why the unit weight of the soil is also important here. The other one is the surcharge load. So what type of surcharge load that is coming onto this particular type of soil. The other one is the depth of foundation, the how much deeper the foundation is there. Okay, because along with the depth of the foundation only, the weight of concrete for this foundation also increases. So that is some another factor. So the other one is the mode of failure, how it failing. Okay, so this mode of failure is something new. We will try to discuss this in the upcoming lectures. So how the soil is actually failing is nothing but the mode of failure which affects the bearing capacity. Okay, so the other one is the size of the footing, the dimensions of the footing what we are considering. Okay, and then the shape of the footing, whether it is circular, rectangular or square in shape or any other type of trapezoidal form. Okay, and then the other one is the depth of water table, at what level the water table is present. Okay, and then the eccentricity of footing. So what do we mean by eccentricity of footing load here? That means that imagine there is a rectangular footing and exactly at the center there is column, then it is exactly axial. So imagine for this rectangular footing the column load is somewhere beside the center. Okay, that means it is somewhere eccentrically. So there is eccentrical loaded footing. Okay, in such case also the bearing capacity varies. So if you look at the other one, the inclination of the footing load as well as the inclination of ground, okay, as well as the inclination of the base of the foundation. So if you look at all these three different cases here, it is dealing with the inclination. That means if you consider any sloping surface, in such case if any footing is present along the sloping surface, or if we consider the inclination of the ground, or if you consider the base of the foundation along this inclination side, in such aspects also the bearing capacity is affected by these three parameters. Okay, coming to the methods of determination of bearing capacity. So let us understand what are the different methods that we have for finding out the bearing capacity. So in general we have the bearing capacity tables in various building codes. There are various IS codes that are present for our understanding. So the bearing capacity tables are available based on the type of soil if it is homogeneous. And apart from that, we have some analytical methods which we will be discussing in this particular module 4. And then we have some plate bearing tests, as we have discussed in the soil exploration unit. We have understood what do you mean by plate bearing test. Okay, and then we have some penetration tests. These were also discussed in soil exploration, the standard cone penetration test, okay, the static cone penetration test, the dynamic cone penetration test. These were discussed in the particular unit. And then there are some model tests as well as prototype tests. And then finally we have some laboratory tests. So out of these, I think we have discussed some of the methods for finding out bearing capacity. Okay, so in this particular lectures we will try to understand the different analytical methods that are there. Based on different authors, there are certain analytical methods which we will try to understand more in detail. Clear? Now, so as usually I have mentioned some of the assignment questions just for our understanding here. So you clearly try to understand exactly what do we mean by ultimate bearing capacity, net safe bearing capacity, safe bearing capacity, the allowable bearing capacity or pressure. So all these you try to understand, then we can get a clear idea. So in the upcoming lecture we will try to understand some of the different methods what I have stated, analytical methods of determination of bearing capacity. Clear? So I hope you have understood very well today's lecture. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.